Hello, everybody. I'm the Linkzilla, and welcome to part 2 of my unscripted little kind of just, I guess, vlog, rant, talk about Jurassic World Dominion and the problems, the major hurdles that this movie is going to face. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are not going to be strictly from the audience, but I really do feel like the audience has something at play here because I honestly don't get American movie audiences. And I know that there's the old saying that, like, it's impossible to please everyone. The people that I mentioned in part 1 of this little rant, they're coming off as major hypocrites because they kept complaining about how the Jurassic Park sequels never did anything new or original. They literally flat out said that every single Jurassic Park sequel is just a copy of the first. And I'm left thinking, it's so incredible what delusions you can have when you close your mind and refuse to learn something. They are literally just as bad as the people that they claim to criticize because Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, it literally is the most different Jurassic Park of the entire series. And literally speaking, it does something so unique, so new, and people hated it for it. I mean, what do you people want? Do you want the franchise to do something new? Do you want it to take risks? Do you want it to be bold and daring? Or do you want more of the same? Make up your goddamn minds. So, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is literally probably the closest that the sequels will get to being in quality to the original Jurassic Park. It has its flaws, sure, but that's a movie that I could genuinely see as being art. And the fact that the emotional center of the film is lost on modern movie-going audiences because they're so bitter and cynical that they're no longer in touch with their inner child. It upsets me because, I mean, I honestly want to look these people in the eye. Back when the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was coming out, I want to look them in the eye and say, do you honestly want to see the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park get killed? And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that this is a franchise that needs people like you. It needs people like me who actually grew up with these movies, caring about the dinosaurs as animals, not seeing them as movie monsters, but beautiful and wonderful animals. Things that wowed us and were just so spectacular. So, in regards to that, I honestly cannot understand why so many people are so angry and so bitter. It's almost like they just want the franchise to end. But I don't. I like the fact that we are in a new age where Jurassic Park is back in the cultural zeitgeist, because I know the dangers. I know that when things come back, they inevitably go bad. But as far as I'm concerned, the Jurassic World franchise is not bad. It's just being held back by people who don't understand it. You guys are unfairly criticizing it. In addition to the people who are making bad criticisms of this movie before it's even come out, I honestly can't believe it. I'm going through the comment sections and I'm saying a lot of people are basically putting it out that how is it that only a handful of dinosaurs escaped from an auction could cause such an ecological disaster? Out in Tennessee, we've got so many guns that we basically kill all the dinosaurs no problem. A handful of guys from Texas would literally wipe the dinosaurs off the face of the planet. I honestly cannot believe that people are making comments like that, because you people are the ones who are claiming that you're tired of consequences being resolved too easily in movies, that you want consequences to have lasting and drastic effects. And yet, you're the ones who are saying that all it would take is a handful of a bunch of rednecks with guns to go out and eradicate a beautiful and valuable species. Not just one, but dozens. Life does not have easy answers. It does not have easy solutions. Death is not the answer. You all who think that in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, let the dinosaurs die, that wasn't going to solve anything. And the movie literally proved it. Effectively speaking, by that point, it no longer mattered if the dinosaurs from InGen were killed or not. Because regardless of what those dinosaurs' fate would inevitably be, genetic power has been unleashed, and it has fallen into the hands of far more irresponsible people. You think that we're only dealing with a couple of dozen random dinosaurs of various species roaming the American Northwest? No, we're not. Those dozen are literally the least of the ecological problem that has happened. Because now, Biosyn has gotten their hands on the dino DNA, among other various megacorporations that now have the ability to make their own dinosaurs. You're not dealing with 24 random Isla Nublar dinosaurs that escaped from an auction. You're dealing with several companies that literally have dinosaur conveyor belts now. Effectively speaking, they're the ones who are going to be mass-producing dinosaurs. They're the ones who are going to be selling them as trained attack dogs to any military force on the planet that's willing to take the price tag. They're the ones that are going to be all over the world. How are you going to stop a corporation from doing that? I'm pretty sure that we're literally living in an age where it takes a monumentous effort to stop a corrupt corporation from doing anything. Effectively speaking, in this day and age with this technology, in regards to the movies, genetic engineering to create dinosaurs is still relatively new and unknown. And worst of all, despite all these sanctions that were placed against InGen after the events of San Diego in the Lost World, Masrani Global lobbied enough people to amend those sanctions to basically to the point where you could literally do whatever you wanted. There was no restrictions, no regulation, no oversight, and now it's gotten out of hand. Other companies are going to do what InGen did, and it's going to be worse. So, I invite all those idiots out there, go ahead, grab your guns, go out into the wild, and shoot yourself a goddamn apatosaur. Shoot yourself a goddamn triceratops. See what happens. I'd also like to point out that the Jurassic Park novel specifically points out that the dinosaurs are actually incredibly hard to kill, because not only do they have very thick skin that's bordering on bulletproof, they literally have dispersed nervous systems, and they're slow bleeders. You could shoot one in the leg, it wouldn't even cripple it. You could shoot one, you could make it bleed, it would literally take hours, if not days, for it to bleed to death, and it would still have plenty of time to maul you. So if you go out and basically think you're going to shoot an apatosaur dead with an elephant gun, all you're going to do is piss it off, and the last thing that's going to go through your head right before its whip-like tail swings around and snaps your entire skeleton in half was thinking, "Oh, my guns, they're useless." You want to try that with a triceratops? You might be able to put down a raging bull. How about you try putting down a raging rhino while it's charging towards you? And now imagine that rhino is 3 to 4 times larger than the largest rhino that ever lived on Earth, and it has the largest and thickest skull of any animal that ever walked this planet. A skull that's large enough and strong enough to stop whatever bullet you're basically going to be charging towards it. And even if you did manage to hit its brain, that's not going to do much good anyway, because the thing is still going to be alive when it collides with you, tramples you, skewers you, whatever, and then it might die after it has royally fucked your corpse over. There are no simple solutions, and the Jurassic Park novel proved that. You want to know why? The final chapter of the Jurassic Park novel ends with the Costa Rican government airlifting Grant and all the other survivors off the island, and they basically say that they're going to carpet bomb the island to prevent the dinosaurs from getting off and causing an outbreak. So they do. One of the final chapters of the Jurassic Park novel is the destruction of Isla Nublar, a lot like it is in Fallen Kingdom. All these wonderful dinosaurs that were beautiful but terrifying at the same time, that brought us such an exciting adventure, a beautiful dream of science and technology, all destroyed, carpet bombed. The island is no more, and the dinosaurs wiped out. The epilogue of the Jurassic Park novel showcases, like I said in the last video, the dinosaurs have indeed gotten off the island. And worst of all, the dinosaurs are smart enough, or at least have the basic instinct that their bodies and their immune systems know, to override the lysine contingency, the plan that basically would prevent the animals from surviving in the wild unless they got enough of the amino acid lysine. The animals had basically figured out that they needed lysine. It's based on this medical phenomenon where if you are depleted of a certain kind of vitamin or nutrient or amino acid, you will suddenly start craving the something that you need, that has something that you need in order to basically, get going. It's like when you have scurvy and you suddenly have, or at least you're on the verge of getting scurvy, you've got a lack of vitamin C, and you start craving orange juice. It's your body telling you need to get some vitamin C, or else you're going to be in some trouble. It's the same thing with things like milk, except for the people who are lactose intolerant, but still, it's based on that. The dinosaurs knew they needed to eat something that had lysine in it, and they started looking for sources of lysine. It started with eating simple agama beans and soy that were being planted all across Central America. And then they started moving into the chicken farms. And before long, you had a population of animals that was moving into the Himalaya Mountains, where they basically were going to continue to go on. Now, the events of the Lost World imply that through hundreds of thousands of dollars and extreme environmental damage, the population of dinosaurs that made it to the mainland were neutralized, that they did indeed manage to get them. There's no evidence to suggest that they got them all, because, effectively speaking, there's always a chance that they didn't. But more than that, the Lost World also showed that something had indeed survived. We got the reveal of Isla Sorna, and all the dinosaurs that should have died out there a long time ago, they continue to survive much through the same means as the ones that made it to the mainland. They were eating agama beans, soy, and chicken where they could get it. Foods that were rich in lysine so that they could survive. And survive they did. Sure, they basically were suffering from an outbreak of prions disease. Effectively speaking, the animals on that island were eventually going to get wiped out, but largely the point of that is to showcase that even the smallest life forms in nature can effectively undo or correct a mistake that was made. But the simple fact is, these dinosaurs are survivors. There's no simple solution to getting them. And worst of all, you're going to do more damage to the environment than you're actually going to do to the animals. And I know that you don't most audiences don't care about the environment. And I got to admit, I'm up there with you guys, because the way that Hollywood is trying to bash us over the head with all this climate change alarmism, which Crichton pointed out in one of his novels as well, is basically, it's easy to not care about this stuff, to basically get annoyed and irritated whenever it gets brought up in conversation, because in a lot of ways, at the end of it all, we're just trying to basically live our own lives. But the simple fact is, you shouldn't basically try to destroy, you shouldn't justify destroying an entire area, an entire ecosystem, just to wipe out one type of animal that you don't like. Also, consider the fact that there's a historical precedence, and I'm talking about IRL, to suggest that exterminating the dinosaurs with guns would not work. Sometime back in the 20th century, Australia literally tried to go to war to wipe out an entire species of emu. They ended up wasting a whole lot of money, men, and ammunition trying to drive a species of bird to either extinction or bring the numbers down to a controlled, populated state to maintain balance. And guess what? They lost. Yeah, those people with the guns that you guys are so gung-ho about literally lost a war to a bunch of birds. Unarmed birds. Birds that they wanted to wipe out, but they couldn't. Effectively speaking, you've got the birds' ancient ancestors in these movies, and you honestly think that it's going to end up in any ways different? I'm sorry, but effectively speaking, what you guys want to do in these movies would cause far more damage than the dinosaurs ever would. And honestly, you guys need to stop that. You guys need to accept the fact that this problem isn't going to be handled with guns. Keep your lousy opinions to yourself and let the adults actually talk. Because if you guys basically think that any problem can be solved by shooting at it, then you're not paying attention to the movies that you are so ready to criticize for being wrong. This is part 2. Hope that you guys will join me for part 3. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.